Are you making one, two, or maybe all 11 of these common mistakes that English speakers make when learning Spanish? If so, no worries, but I'm going to help you out so that you can polish your Spanish and make it sound more natural. But first of all, if you're new to me, te doy una gran bienvenida. My name is Erica Ray. I'm a former Spanish medical interpreter turned Spanish teacher and language coach, now living and loving life abroad here in Mexico with a lot of incredible people. So if you're ready to go deeper with your Spanish and form connections around you as well, then I invite you to my free masterclass all about how to go from nervous small talk to heartfelt conversations with family, friends, and the members of your community. You can find that in the link below or by going to ericaraylanguage.com/90days. Mistake number 1, using un otro instead of just otro. So in English, we often say another, which seems like it should translate to un for and otro for other. But in Spanish, otro already means another or other. It can mean either one. So to say un otro is redundant and incorrect. Un otro día? Otro día. ¿Quiero un otro café? Quiero otro café. ¿Tienes un otro libro? ¿Tienes otro libro? ¿Está claro? Bien. Te voy a explicar otro error. Mistake number 2 is saying me llamo es instead of just me llamo. This happens because in English we're thinking of my name is. And so we feel like we need to say me llamo es. But in Spanish, me llamo doesn't mean my name. It means I call myself. So we're literally saying I call myself Erica. It wouldn't make sense to say I call myself is Erica. So you don't need es, just follow it up with your name. Mistake number 3, confusing muy and mucho. English speakers confuse these because very and a lot are both intensifiers, so they add emphasis to a word. But they work in different ways. Muy means very, while mucho means many or a lot. Es mucho interesante. Es muy interesante. Ella es mucho simpática. Ella es muy simpática. Estoy mucho feliz ahora. Estoy muy feliz ahora. Muy interesante, ¿verdad? Mistake number 4, using bueno instead of bien. English speakers tend to mix these up because in English we do use good and well a little differently in common speech. But bien is actually an adverb, so it's describing a verb. It's describing how something is done, while bueno is an adjective, so it's describing a noun. Ella canta bueno. Ella canta bien. Why? Because we're talking about cantar, a verb, to sing. Ella canta bien. Hablas español muy bueno. Hablas español muy bien. We're talking about la manera en la que hablas español, the way you speak Spanish. Bien. Lo hiciste bueno. Lo hiciste bien. Again, because we're referring to hiciste. We're talking about how you did something, a verb. ¿Está bien? Vamos a continuar. But first, have you made any of these first 4 mistakes? If so, let us know which one in the comments below. The next 3 examples all have to do with the verb hacer. Mistake number 5, saying hacer errores instead of cometer errores. In English, we make mistakes, so it feels natural to say hacer errores. But in Spanish, we commit mistakes. Sounds pretty serious, huh? So use cometer errores instead, no matter how minor of a mistake it was. Hago muchos errores en español. Cometo muchos errores en español. Él hizo un error grave. Él cometió un error grave. No cometas ese error. Sigamos aprendiendo. Mistake number 6, saying hacer una decisión instead of tomar una decisión. In English, we make a decision. In Spanish, we take a decision. You can think of it like selecting it from many options. I'll take this one. Voy a tomar esa decisión. Voy a hacer una decisión pronto. Voy a tomar una decisión pronto. Él hizo una buena decisión. No, él tomó una buena decisión. Tú has tomado una excelente decisión al ver este video. Mistake number 7, saying hacer sentido instead of tener sentido. In English, we say, that makes sense, which leads learners to believe that they should say, hace sentido. Eso hace sentido. Pero eso no tiene sentido. In Spanish, we don't make sense. We have sense. The correct phrase is tener sentido. Tu explicación no hace sentido. Tu explicación no tiene sentido. All right, let's take a break from hacer for a moment. Mistake number 8 is confusing por and para. This is a big one, I know. These two prepositions are tricky because we often think of them both as meaning for in English, and they can a lot of the time. But instead, try to get used to por meaning something similar to because of, or by, or through, while para indicates a purpose or a destination. Este regalo es por ti. Este regalo es para ti. It's going to you. You are the destination. Trabajo para dinero. Trabajo por dinero. Esta es la razón por la que trabajo. This is the reason why I work. I work for money. Por dinero. This is the root cause or the reason. Salimos por la playa. Not if you're going to the beach. Salimos para la playa. That's where you were going. The playa is the destination. I have a much more detailed explanation of this in a video that I will link around this one. Mistake number 9, mixing up ser and estar. Another big one. There's loads to unpack here, but we'll just keep it simple. This happens because both ser and estar can translate as to be in English. And you may have heard the rule that ser is used more for permanent traits, while estar is usually used for temporary traits or location. That's typically true. El agua es fría? Well, only if you're talking about water being cold always. But you're probably meaning el agua está fría. This water that I'm drinking está fría. El agua está fría. And yes, my water bottle is well worn. Hey, I drink a lot of water. It's a good thing, right? Ella está inteligente. Give her the credit that she deserves. Ella es inteligente, a permanent trait. But something tricky happens with event locations. El concierto está en Madrid. You probably want to say el concierto es en Madrid. This is tricky because most of the time we do use estar for location, like Madrid está en España. But when we're talking about the location of an event, concert, a meeting, a wedding, we'll use ser instead of estar. Es interesante, ¿verdad? Mistake number 10, adding por unnecessarily with the verb buscar. So in English, we tend to say for, like I'm looking for, I'm searching for. But buscar already means to look for, to search for. So you don't need to add another for. Busco por un trabajo. Busco un trabajo. ¿Estamos buscando por ayuda? No, estamos buscando ayuda. Voy a buscar por el libro. Voy a buscar el libro. Mistake number 11, overusing yo and other subject pronouns. This is not technically a mistake, but it just sounds really awkward. English requires a subject pronoun with every sentence. I have to say, I wake up, I brush my teeth, I eat breakfast. I can't just say, wake up, brush teeth, eat breakfast, because we wouldn't know who we're talking about. But in Spanish, verbs already show who is doing the action. There are some tenses of verbs, like third person, he, she, it, that can be more ambiguous, and we may need to specify who we're talking about, at least until it's very clear and established who we're talking about. But yo is not one of them. It could only mean I, and that's already baked into the verb. Yo entiendo español, pero yo no hablo mucho. It's not incorrect, but it would be much more natural to say, entiendo español, pero no hablo mucho. You can leave off the yos entirely. Yo quiero aprender, pero yo no sé cómo. Much more natural to say, quiero aprender, pero no sé cómo. And there you have it. Those are 11 common Spanish mistakes that English speakers make, why, and how to avoid them. Give this video a like if you've ever made any of those mistakes during your Spanish learning journey. I certainly have, so I'm going to like my own video. I hope you found the video super helpful, but remember, if you want to go beyond just learning bits and pieces of the language, and if you want to put together a solid study plan that is going to have you speaking, not just learning, then I invite you to my masterclass, Accelerate to Confident Conversation. You can find that by going to the link below or ericareerlanguage.com/90days. I'll see you there. In the meantime, check out this video next. Hasta la próxima.